women are not getting pregnant by themselves.
That's right.
It normally takes a man. And so why are the men not being brought to the table and held accountable and dealt with? And so, yeah, it's a great opportunity for me to serve the Lord. And so I'm excited about that.
Since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, the pro-life movement has changed, and so has the way we fight for the unborn. Many celebrated and stepped back, thinking the war was over, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Abortion didn't end, it just slipped out of sight. And when no one is watching, injustice thrives. We're here to show you why the battle still rages on and how to stand, speak, and fight back in a post-Roe world. This is the CPC Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the CPC Metro Podcast, and welcome in if you guys are new. My name's Chrissy. The Center for Pregnancy Choices is the largest pregnancy resource center in the state of Mississippi, and we exist to empower the choice for life. We are excited to be back in the studio today, and another special thing is that Erin Kate, our executive director, is also back with us today. She's been missing for the last couple of shows. So, but I'm sure that there is no person who is more appreciative that we are back in the studio than our podcast genius, Daniel Anderson, over here at Audio Alchemy, who graciously broke down his whole studio so that we could go live at Trustmark Park on Saturday. Daniel, have you recovered?
Yeah. I have. Yeah, it was no big deal. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no problems.
No, you had a great attitude all day.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was great.
Did you drink the Diet Cokes that I brought you for consolation?
I did not.
They're just still sitting in the fridge.
I drank one of them.
He did.
And there are two sitting in the. It was more about. I wanted to see if you would do it. And the fact that you did it made me feel good. I didn't really need them.
Okay.
I just made a big deal about it.
Totally using me. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I will not be.
We're losing signal here. Something's going on.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I will not be bringing you any more Diet Cokes. I'm not going to.
I'm
not going to play your games.
I couldn't have done it without those Diet Cokes.
Erin Kate, how are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm so happy that you're back in the studio. I feel like they cut off my right arm.
I missed you.
I missed you
being
too.
here.
But you know what? You are the executive director. You're a very busy woman. So give us an update on all the things that you've done since you've been gone behind the scenes, most notably Life Walk.
Well, mainly we've been working on the Life Walk.
Right.
And so we call Life Walk is not an event. It's a season
Definitely.
at the CPC, which kicks off in March. And this year we had 550 of our friends out at Trustmark Park to celebrate life. And our community raised $156,000 that will go straight to the work of the CPC.
Praise God.
It was a beautiful day. The sun came out, and there were lots of friends, and we had a wonderful time.
Yes.
We were grateful.
Yes. Well, who do we have in studio today with us?
We have our CPC Metro Men's Ministry Advisor, Mr. Al Arnold, and he has been prayed into this role. We have prayed and prayed over the years for the right man to come alongside of our ministry and help the men that we serve. And so the Lord has brought us Al, and Al is here with us today. I'm so excited.
I am too. Al, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's so good to have you.
Excited to share with you all today.
Well, I'm excited to hear from you. But first, I got to just say I'm very appreciative of your role this weekend at Life Walk, because I was doing podcast stuff, but I was going back to the tent where we were, and I saw you out there with the golf cart and all the signs, sticking the signs on the walk route. Yeah. And so that was my job last year. So
that job was a little bit harder. I told Erin Kate
yes.
It was harder than I thought.
Yes.
But it was fun.
You got it done.
To try to bring some optics to the Life Walk.
Yes. Give the people an experience kind of as they're on the path.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that.
Well, certainly.
Tell me about how you got started with the CPC. I'm excited to hear that.
Well, a few years back, Erin Kate came to Redeemer Presbyterian Church, where I'm a member.
Okay.
And at the time, I was an elder, and she gave a testimony that really pricked my heart. And I'm ashamed to say that I was over the age of 50 when I first really opened my heart to this issue. And after much prayer, contemplation, I realized that it's a pretty serious issue in the community. And I thought it was worthy to not be silent and speak up and get involved. And so I started volunteering um, based upon that invitation from her, just coming to our mission month at Redeemer. And so ended up uh, becoming a member of the board and working with men just on a volunteer basis. And from there, it's just developed a passion for mentoring men and really getting into the struggle of dealing with the reality that women are not getting pregnant by themselves.
That's right.
It normally takes a man, and so why are the men not being brought to the table and held accountable and dealt with? And so, yeah, it's a great opportunity for me to serve the Lord, and so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear, more about the men's role in this ministry because you're right. I think that they feel like they've been pushed out of the conversation. They feel like they have no place. Maybe it's intimidation. Maybe it's just lack of awareness. I don't really know what it is, but you said you were over 50 when it really clicked for
Yeah,
you.
well, not just from a man's perspective, but culturally too.
hmm
From my
hmm
perspective, coming into it, it's a kind of a taboo issue. It's a
Right.
private issue. It's an issue that you don't really. I grew up in the traditional Black Baptist church in
hmm
Mississippi, and it was just not an issue that we talked about.
hmm
Um, Unfortunately, I think the enemy uses this as a political ideology issue
hmm
and not a gospel issue. And so for some of us, it's just gotten to the point to where we have just not been able to address it because we think it's just a social, political issue that doesn't have anything to do with the gospel. So I think for me, that was the big issue. And so coming into this for men, um, when I really accepted this as a gospel issue and a life issue that we were dealing with in our communities, you have men that are underdeveloped spiritually, underdeveloped emotionally, financially, and vocationally. And so they're often afraid and they just need help
hmm
and encouragement, direction, sometimes properly being challenged
hmm
to accept their God given role as a father. We believe it's a higher calling to become a father. It's not a mistake. God doesn't. I think about my mother who was 17 when she had me, 15 when she had my sister, and I look back at that and say to myself, "Wow!" In this day, in this time, in this culture, I probably would have been aborted and
mm
would not have had a chance at life.
Wow.
And so it's something that's real that we have to really think about. What are we doing for our posterity? What are we doing culturally for our people? And not just that, the church. Unfortunately, we talk to a lot of young men and women who are uh, professing Christians
Yes.
who are in these crisis situations that
Right.
end up making decisions to abort their children.
Mhm.
I think we should be challenging that. I don't think we should just be accepting that because the society accepts it.
Right. And I mean, I'm so glad that you brought that up because I do think that if this is going to be um, a thing of the past, like we hope that it is, then the church has got to be the one to lead the charge. But how are they going to do that if our own church members are the ones making these decisions because we're not talking about it and it's not preached about? And, you have people like you
Yeah,
who, I mean, you need to come alongside and mentor young men and teach them not just, oh, don't have sex before you're married. Like there are deeper repercussions to that. It's more than just about following all the rules. Like it is your legacy that is on the line when you make decisions like that.
certainly.
So, and I don't want this to be one of those shows where it's like all we're doing is, kind of the joke is like on Mother's Day at church, it's oh, mothers are so underappreciated. Oh, they do such a thankless job. And then Father's Day rolls around. It's like, you guys have got to step up. I don't want it to be all about, us telling men that, y'all got to
Yeah.
get with the program or whatever, because the men that are in our circle
Mhm.
are just fierce for the gospel, and they
Mhm.
do understand that it's a gospel issue. And so
Mhm.
we see God raising up a great group of men. So we'll talk more about that. But I want to hear from Erin Kate about basically how Al got here on the CPC side. I mean, you said that we prayed Al here, and talk a little bit about how he came on board and then what God has done in the CPC since then, because it's really big stuff.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to highlight how you said you heard me speak. You came over to my table, and I remember Al Arnold coming to my table at Redeemer. A lot of times, only women come to the CPC table, and so first of all, it's important. A lot of people would just say, "Oh, pregnancy," and they walk the other way. And and
Right.
most of the time they're joking, and I totally get
Sure.
it. But Al actually came up to the pregnancy center table, which was bold for a guy. And I remember having a conversation. So, but that has been the challenge for our ministry for many years. It's women at the table. It's a pregnancy. So men don't, they are involved in the pregnancy, but that word they don't associate with. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
And so for our ministry, last year, well, actually, the end of 2024, we set our goals a year ahead for our ministry every year. And when our leadership team, as we were praying through the next year, we said, we have got, if we're ever going to address abortion at its root, we have got to have men at the table. We've got to, and we have men. We've always, Al was on our board. We have men on the board, but even when a guy like Al would come to us at the table at a church and say, "I want to get involved," I really didn't have anything for them to do. Unfortunately, I want them to be involved, but you can't do a sonogram. You can't counsel a pregnant lady. I mean, in our clinic, things like that. And so I didn't even have a place for men. And so that was a problem. So we actually intentionally said we want to, in a year, and especially in 3 years, we want men in our leadership. We want to see men in our ministry really involved. And we started praying that the Lord would show us how to do that, how men could get involved. And Al really was kind of a trailblazer for us of years ago, starting to mentor our men and see our men actually online with the iPad.
Mhm.
When a woman would come in, a guy could connect in the other room through most of the time virtually with Al. But anyway, that was kind of the only thing we knew they could do, and that was kind of new. So we started praying for these men to come. And over the last, it hasn't even been a year. Probably in July, our first guy came on staff. And now we've got 6 men on our staff. And
Say
it
it
hasn't,
again.
6 men on staff, and it hasn't even been a year.
Mhm.
But the Lord has just brought men in
That's
every
right.
aspect of our ministry. It's not like we just have this pool of men who do men's in that under Al. It's across the board. It's
That's right.
HR, it's fundraising, it's church relations, it's
Media.
prevention, media. I
Mhm.
mean, all the things. We have a man's voice. And when you go to the church, there will be men at the table as well as women. And so we're excited that God has just answered our prayers, and Al is really at the helm of really trying to see how men can fit in across the ministry to kind of place men in the ministry side of CPC and the prevention, intervention, extension, all that. Al's really the guy to kind of see how we can serve our community, how we can serve the men who need us with other men. And so he's kind of the point person for that.
Right. And I think that just lays the foundation perfectly for kind of what I was wanting to
Mhm.
go to is tell us about the men's ministry for those who may not know. Like, what is the program looking like, a day in the life right now? Because I think that there's a lot of men who, we both know who want to get involved, but they just say, I don't know what I can do.
Yeah. Well, we certainly need men, and what it's going to look like, obviously, it's going to take on its own shape and form based upon the gifts that God
Sure.
brings to the table. But we need men for mentee relationships. We need men that serve in counseling, and so we're talking to a gentleman about serving as a mental health counselor, if you will,
Okay.
for men who may be struggling in that area.
Mhm.
Spiritual development, men who are able to come along and walk alongside men and disciple them. Obviously, prevention is one that we are excited about with Isaiah and the work that he's doing, and just trying to get men involved in that. Um, One-on-one mentoring in group classes, small group facilitation
Okay.
is another area. So we we want to be open to the gifts that God brings to us,
Right.
but we want to be holistic in how we approach men, whether that be through financial counseling and helping them understand the dynamics of family budgets, or vocational development, helping men put some application to. I got a young man right now, 17 years old. He's texting me, um, and he's thinking about how much time and what can he do as a 17-year-old to get a job. He has
Mm.
a child that's coming into the world, and his greatest fear right now is how can he provide for this child. And so just before I came in, he's texting me and asking me what type of jobs can I, as a 17-year-old, be considering. So here I have a great opportunity to shepherd and to steer him. I try not to tell him what to do.
Mhm.
I just try to be a resource and give options. And so as men who listen to this, think about that as to what could they bring to the table to help facilitate um, a young man such as this. How do we get him to a point of maturity
Mhm.
and whatever goals he's trying to achieve in life, to help him support that child,
Mhm.
support that young lady. And so, yeah, it's an exciting opportunity for men because it's new. It's the women here are dynamic. They will stretch you. They will
Did you say stress you
the
or stretch you?
stretch. They will
Because
certainly.
it could be both.
It
I
could be
mean,
both, but
let's just be
it's
honest.
challenging to work with women because you all are doing
Careful.
it's such a great job. I mean, it's really sometimes intimidating.
Let the man
because-
speak.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah. We need men to come in and to walk alongside these women and to shine
Right.
the light of the gospel, just as you all are doing. And so that's what we're praying for,
Right.
is that men can join this excitement and this joy that we have in sharing Christ and building up our community. So, yeah.
Well, I think the most exciting thing to me is knowing that a 17-year-old male is texting you. Like,
Yeah.
that to me shows that they are hungry
Yes.
for mentorship.
Yes.
They want somebody to give them wise counsel and guidance and just be there for them. And
Yes.
kind of like what we see with the ladies. I've said it before, most of the time they don't want to choose abortion. They do so because they feel like they don't have support.
Yes.
And I think men, I mean, as different as they are from us, like they also need that in their lives.
Right.
And so I am so excited about all the things that you guys are doing. And not only, I mean, this would be considered the intervention part, but you have also, jumped into the deeper still training, and you did a prevention stretch with out there at one of the schools with Isaiah
At Piney
and so
Woods, yeah.
Piney Woods, yeah. And so talk a little bit about the other, because we tend to think about intervention only when we think about the Klein Center clinic part of it. But what about these other areas?
Yeah, that's a great question. And when I say stretch, that's exactly what I mean. There's so much.
I was just kidding with you.
There's so much to do. Working with Isaiah at Piney Woods, I'm well over the age of these kids, 2-3 generations away, and watching him engage with these high school kids is just priceless. And yet to be able to be there for him, support him, develop a relationship with him, it's quite insightful to learn how to communicate different. I'm from a different generation, and so the young man who just texted me, I said, "Hey, do you want me to call you?" He said, "No, let's text." And so, right there, I would much rather just pick up the phone and call the kid
That's
and
a
talk to him,
generational
right?
difference.
But no, he wants to dialogue with text. So they're multitasking,
Yeah.
and they're doing things, and sometimes the texts are delayed, and you have to follow up with them. And so you got that part of it. You got the prevention side. the intervention, and then you have the extension where we're actually dealing with men who are maybe post-abortive
Hmm.
or recovering from a past abortion, maybe a lot older gentlemen who may be still struggling with some issues there from a post-abortive past. And so the CPC is not just that. I had a gentleman came up to me at church and he said, you know, you got to be really brave to do this, deal with the people yelling at you and screaming at you. And so he had a very narrow view of kind of what we do because he was looking at this through the eyes of maybe those who do sidewalk ministry,
Right.
which I've never done. And so I didn't really have a clue of what he was talking about, but
Hmm.
I understood holistically what he was saying. And it's just CPC is so much more than that. And, you know, my challenge to my church and to the community is to get children involved, youth, college students, where we're actually seeing a lot of the crisis in our communities here in Mississippi is in that age group. And so we need to be focusing on prevention. We really need to start honing in on what's going on these college campuses. And so I'm challenging the college ministers and the youth ministers and the children. I went up to the children's director and said, hey, you know, we have a program for children to really get involved early. So um, it's a holistic approach, and so yeah, it's a great work, and appreciate the holistic aspect of it. And I think when people really see that about the CPC, they can really value what we do. Just adding men to it is no surprise to me that under the leadership of Erin Kate that we will be doing that because that's the vision and the visionary that she is.
Hmm.
Is yeah, men are responsible and should have some voice in how we develop this ministry and grow it out.
Right. And you talked a little bit about just the I guess the false picture of what pro life looks like, on our side. Okay. Like the when they hear pro life, they think you're out there holding signs and shouting and all this stuff. And so, Erin Kate, what do you say to the churches or the businesses that you speak at who I guess when they hear that you are speaking, they have that thing in their mind? How do you kind of explain what we do and differentiate from the idea?
Sure. Generally, I talk about the CPC is here to address the demand for abortion, and so that I I have a business degree. I think about supply and demand, but I always that's just kind of how I think about
Hmm.
it. But we're not here to fight access to abortion or things like that. We're really addressing why does a woman in our community consider abortion and what would make her choose life and then what can we do about it. And so we're about building a culture like we're and then we say this it's one of our phrases, but we're a culture where abortion is unthinkable, where a woman would not consider abortion and what can we do to build that out. And so we value sidewalk counselors, that work is
Hmm.
important, and we don't have an abortion facility anymore to do that, but we just never were on that was not what part of the ministry that we
Right.
did. That was not our pro-life space, but we're really the kind of the boots on the ground as far as serving her needs so that she wouldn't choose abortion. So hopefully before she ever got to the abortion facility.
Right. I kind of like to describe it as far as the holistic approach. I don't want anybody to be able to say to us, you only care about the babies before they're born, or you just care about the babies and not the mothers, or you just care about the mothers and not the family. And that's what I love so much about what we do. So we have a mission experience coming up.
Yes. So, mission experience is the easiest first step that you can take in learning more about CPC Metro. You'll actually walk into our doors, meet our team, meet the people who are on the front lines, like Al.
Hmm.
And we do those every single month except July. We
Okay.
take a break in July because we have another event that takes a lot of our efforts. But
Sure.
so May 21st, it's lunchtime and we feed you and it's free and it's just an hour of your time. So we invite you to come in and see us on May the 21st.
Right. That is the easiest way
It
to
is.
get a full vision
Mhm.
of the holistic approach. Now, something else that is exciting, Al, that is coming up very soon after that.
Yes, we're going to do the launch of the men's ministry at the CPC. That's going to be on May 30th from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. We are going to feed you. We're inviting men to come out.
Only?
No,
Okay.
obviously, we welcome everybody. This is,
Sure.
again, a holistic ministry,
Mhm.
but we are targeting men
Okay.
who want to get involved, who want to see and find out a little bit more about maybe how they can serve or how they can support. Prayer is a big part of the support of this ministry, and so we need men to show up and come out and hear from some of the men that serve with me in the CPC. Of course, I'll be there sharing a little bit more about the men's ministry as well. But yeah, May the 30th from 9 o'clock till 11 o'clock. And the events at the CPC are always very festive and
That's right.
fun. And so they do it well. So you'd be impressed if you come out.
So if you have a man who up until this point has just said, I support you from a distance. I don't think that there is anything that I can actually do. I can't make a difference. Invite this gentleman to the CPC on May the 30th. I guarantee you there will be somewhere that he can fit. So
And there should be a registration on our website to
Okay.
where the men can register for that event.
Mhm.
I'm sure we're going to have that link up.
we
and
will
so-
link. Yeah, we
so
will
you
probably
can-
link that to in the description of this
great.
podcast
Awesome.
too. Well, you also mentioned that prayer is at the heart of everything that we do.
Yes.
And I appreciate you saying that because I have an update to give before we close. And a few months ago, we had Kurt Dillinger on when we launched our theme for 2026. It's a gospel issue. The day before we recorded that podcast, I mentioned at the very end of that episode that it was a very hard day at the CPC. It was one of those days where the ladies in the clinic had done everything right. They had done everything that they could do. And I said on the show, there was nothing else that we could do other than pray. So we all gathered in one of the offices and prayed over this young lady who was in a terrible situation and found out that the abortion pills that she took did not work. And she wasn't happy that they didn't work. And by God's divine providence and mentorship, connection, and support, I can say that her, not just one baby, but 2 babies, were born in April.
Praise God.
Praise God.
Praise God.
And I get kind of emotional. Like, I don't typically get emotional when we're doing this podcast, but folks, it is real. This is not imaginary. And I believe that the power of prayer and God himself intervened and rescued these 2 babies' lives. So with that, we're going to close our show. We're going to close it out with a praise. Al, thank you so much for joining us. Erin Kate, it's great to have you back.
Thank you.
And we hope that you will bring a man alongside you and tell him to get here to join this ministry because they are valued and they are needed and they matter. So with that, thank you guys so much and we'll see you next time.